And we live, it seems. Hey guy, Macho here, how's going? This is second of my daily writing vlog. I tried it first time, I realized I liked it. I wanted to talk for at least 3 minutes. I talked 20 minutes. Today's probably gonna be shorter for sure. What I want this to be is my obviously um, journal slash diary, but slash vlog obviously, but focus on my writing, on my daily writing, on my daily progress and thoughts about my fiction writing. Today it's gonna be actually shorter one. It seems because I slept really bad last night. Uh, I barely did anything today, but obviously I went to work, but I usually try to write during like lunch break and stuff, but I really couldn't do it. I could force myself, but I realized something. I heard for years that supposedly being exhausted makes you more creative. I always found it bullshit until I realized I have problem to do fixed and rational work when I'm tired, which is obvious, such as continue writing, finishing chapter, writing next chapter, what I already writing. But my I hate to admit it, but when I'm tired, my mind does wander. Therefore, it does come out with more stuff and faster. So I decided I'm still trying to write book in 2 months. I don't think I'm gonna make it. Making it's gonna be like 2 months, 2 weeks. It's of course first draft. Then I'm gonna start second draft. Then I'm gonna start first draft of the next book. Then during weekends and off time, I'm gonna be writing second draft and revisions. It's about getting into groove. It's gonna getting into habit. Ari Shafir, comedian. He has something that's stuck in my mind. When you work consistently and you write consistently, he was saying that in terms of comedy and script writing, I believe it's applicable to pretty much anything. Year from now, when you work every day, year from now, your worst work will be better than your best work right now. And I can already see it in myself. Not just book to book, but even chapter to chapter, week to week. I'm getting better and better. But I find out that when I'm too tired to write normally, I outline future book, which I do anyway, because right now I'm decided to write almost like factory setting or way businessmen do it or businesses. I have a friend who leads like 20 guys. She's like 20 guys. She's economist, and she told me that when you there's no such thing as finishing project and not doing nothing. Your next project, you must be prepared before you finish this one, and I'm doing like that. So I was outlining today, and I'm gonna show it how I'm doing. My previous book was originally was meant to be called New Dawn Amber Regrets. It was like flintlock fantasy, but I like to misalign. For those who don't know, flintlock fantasy is basically muskets and magic. It's a fantasy setting, but instead of medieval, it's closer to late Renaissance, let's say, from 15th century to Napoleonic era. Powder Mage is probably the best one, which is funny because I'm not saying like I invented it or anything, but I always wanted to do it. And while I was writing Amber Regrets, I found out that this genre is popular and I was super excited. That's how I found out Powder Mage, which is my favorite thing right now. But Amber Regrets, originally I was really depressed and it was supposed to be 20 pages short story who ended up being like 700 pages, over 300,000 words, and it was pure discovery. Basically, what I say, I accidentally wrote a book, and inside that book, I wrote several other books. That's not even joke, dude. That's what happened. But I learned a lot. It helped me through my depression, and I decided I was about to give up writing, but then when I accidentally wrote a book and few books inside it, I'm gonna be making videos. I was thinking about waiting to buying new camera, but I'm realizing this camera isn't as bad as I thought. So we'll see. Maybe I wait for I have next camera, maybe I use this one. Either way, there's not point of discussion. I decided to go double down and write every day because, when you write for a year something and it cured my depression, and it's not readable. It wasn't even writing a book, it was just what comes to my mind goes to paper. Figuratively, I'm writing on computer/phone. I don't have it here, but I have it in work when I write. During lunch break, I bought USB keyboard, and that I have attachment. That one that is USB, other end is micro USB, so I have normal big keyboard, which goes into my phone, and just put phone on table and write like that. But I outline on paper. So that was Amber Regrets, New Dawn Amber Regrets, like I said, Mask and Magic. Right now I'm writing from outline Moonlight Star, Sin of Mercy, which is gonna be kinda like Taken/Judge Dredd on the moon with magic in 1940s. As I always say, it's not called fantasy because it's supposed to be like anything else, So this one, Moonlight Star, more than anything I ever wrote, I just went full anime. That's pure craziness. But in same time, I write way less action and way more character-driven story, which I enjoyed, I must say. There's still action and titties as it's supposed to be. I'm not writing for Pulitzer, I'm writing for fun. But I'm gonna finally show you. And now I'm at lighting. How well is it seen? Hold on. I think you can get general idea. Hold on. This is our outline. Basically, I use 4x structure / 3x structure with midpoint climax. To avoid confusion, basically you have 3x structure and you split second act in 2. So it's actually 4 acts, but when you say like third act climax, people will assume it's end of the book. So I'm marking it, don't know if you can see. I'm marking everything 1, 2, 3, 4. But to avoid confusion, I'm gonna refer to this as Act 1, Act 2A, Act 2B, and Act 3. There's a great video when I learned this. It's D4Hilarious. Don't know how to pronounce it. It's a great YouTuber. Just type in 3x structure into YouTube. He'll be like first or second result. It's that man is my god. He's a great. And also he's talking about screenwriting. He goes way more closer to Save the Cat, talking about what's supposed to happen on which minute, but generally you can use it for books too. Anyway, I took 4 highliners that I just had, and I've randomly, no picture, or just way. I have 4 colors, way I drag them from the box. I have pink one for Act 1, yellow one for Act 2, orange one for Act 2B, in between is midpoint climax, and fourth one is final. Now, what you're looking at is one chapter, because I split story into 4 acts or 4 quarters, whatever you prefer to call it. Then I split each of those acts into 4 acts, and each of those acts into chapters. Usually 2 or 1 chapter. Sometimes I'm still naturally a discovery writer, and I think I found a good balance. Sometimes I had a moment when I wrote a chapter as it's outlined, and I split it into 4 chapters because it was that long. And I had equally moment in same project, in Moonlight Star, when I'm writing right now, when I was about to write 3 or 4 chapters that I had outlined and realized they could be all written in 5 pages. So like I said, I'm not married to outline. I'm just trying to make good story. And then I split each chapter into 4 acts. And mind you, this isn't because I'm so addicted to outline. It's actually the exact opposite. Since I'm discovery writer, this helps me to be more on track. But like I said, sometimes when I have idea, I just go with it. I'm probably gonna leave it for tomorrow, but chapter in Moonlight Star I'm writing right now. There's gonna be full rewrite in second draft. Probably gonna be again 2 or 3 chapters. But today I was outlining Army invades, Silver's Magic. This should probably start with this, what I'm writing right now. Well, what I'm outlining my next novel after I'm finished. Right now I'm writing Moonlight Star. Before that it was Amber Regrets. So Amber Regrets was full discovery just out of my head that accidentally wrote a book. After that, what I'm writing right now is outlined Moonlight Star, and after that there's gonna be Mirror Blade, which is, you could argue, second draft of Amber Regrets, but one, I changed the title because on like first 5 pages of Save the Cat, they talk about, there's chapter about naming stories, and it completely blew my mind. Basically, it's like, find your synopsis should have irony in it. They hate each other, but they must work together, and from that you derive title. Amber Regrets had reason because our main character and our antagonist, as I like to call it, villain question mark, used to be friends. They split their ways, they found each other now on different sides of war. Very cheesy, very tropey, very cliche, but I actually like it that way. I like to take something that's tropey or cliche and then change it. Basically, if you ever played Resident Evil 4, when there's a moment where Krauser shows up and he's your main character, your main hero's former friend who's now villain, but he was never seen before. In TV tropes it's called Hello New Guy, and I was like, was there some game between Code Veronica and Resident Evil 4 that I missed? No, it wasn't. They were like, hey, what if Leon had like rival character that used to be his friend but now he's bad guy? So Krauser just shows up in Resident Evil 4 and Leon's like, Krauser, you used to be good guy. And I'm like, who the fuck are you? I mean, you fucking badass. You cool as shit, Krauser, Jack Krauser. I love you, man. But I don't know who you are. So in Amber Regrets, I treated that main character's name is Cyril. Our antagonist / again villain question mark, his name Jim. It's again Flintlock fantasy, so Masked and Magic. Idea for that, I went off the topic, but I have huge fetish for misaligning genre and story. Basically, Star Wars is not science fiction. Star Wars is swashbuckling romance in space. It's fairy tale in space. It's actually, when you think about it, Star Wars New Hope and Pirates of the Caribbean are exactly the same fucking story, and that's not criticism. I love it like that. You could argue, in fact, it's not like you could argue, it's a fact that many, especially DC superheroes, were originally based on swashbuckling characters. Green Arrow is based off Robin Hood, which is obvious, and it's a joke about it in comics and in TV show, and Batman is based off Zorro. I didn't know it until recently, but in very, very first Batman comics, which back then it was apparently called Detective Comics, Bruce Wayne and his parents, when they went out of theater, when Bruce Wayne's parents were killed, in original very first comics they were watching Mask of Zorro. Yeah. So basically it's always like from past, from Renaissance / colonization to America to present day, the superheroes from pirate era to space, that would be Star Wars. I kind of wanted to make it backwards. So it's genre that should be in present day or near future, but it's in fantasy setting. So basically New Dawn, Amber Regrets, and now Mirror Blade. It's supposed to be kind of like Metal Gear Solid with swords and magic, or 24 with swords and magic, or let's say Jason Bourne with swords and magic. Winter Soldier is good example because it's that whole angle of friend who's now on the other side. But also I put a lot of like I said, a lot of space on our villain question mark Jim's perspective, and basically Cyril and Jim, they have a, let's call it how it is. Basically, Jim's whole race / nation gets thrown overboard by government, which is justified from that side. But Jim takes it really well. He drops his sword. He leaves. He's like, "Fuck off! I'm leaving." From the Special Forces Order, which is called Lutherans, Latin for candle. There's a reason for it. I wanted to go at least 3 minutes. Now I'm talking almost 16. God, I'm gonna do this. This is addictive. I cannot talk to people in real life unless they're really good friends. I heard some extroverted people have trouble to talk to camera. I'm introvert. This is like therapy. I need to do this seriously every day. Hopefully this start making a little more sense. If not, maybe not. Anyway, where was I? Yeah. Cyril and Jim. They part ways. Cyril continues to eventually leave the warrior order, joined secret service, became spy, still with swords and musket, but he's special agent. Meantime, Jim joins the bad guys, but it's not like he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna destroy you," but rather, I'm gonna do it again, more structured. But in Amber Regrets, I spent probably more time than anything writing what happened in these 10 years when Jim was away. He got married, he tried to settle down, he tried to live peaceful life, but it didn't quite work out. Some through his own doing, some through circumstance, and now he's back. And he has chance to save his people and save his wife, but for that he pretty much needs to genocide the entire city. And of course Cyril is in his way, so almost half the book, if not more, in Amber Regrets was just this guy writing Jim's are villains, past life, he's interacting with his wife, how he's great guy, how he misses his friends, how he genuinely misses Cyril, because it's kind of like reverse Captain America, where actually no, sorry. I heard Captain America reverses back and forth, but like in comics, Bucky was sidekick. In movies, Steve Rogers look up to Bucky, and he is like, in anime or in Japan, they would say that Jim was Cyril's senpai. Basically, Jim was about 10 years senior to maybe 15 to Cyril. He wasn't like his father figure, more like his older brother figure. Until this day, whenever Cyril doesn't know what to do, what is right to do, he thinks, what would Jim do? And midpoint climax, of course, audience finds it right away because, as always, M. Night Shyamalan turned twist into N-word of storytelling. So audience knows right away what's up, that man under the mask or the mask is Jim, but midpoint climax, again, check out D4 Hilarious. Just type in YouTube 3x Fracture. Find that video, he talks about midpoint climax, what is important. Basically, that one point just in the middle of the story when shit hits beyond the fan and everything goes to shit. That's the moment when Cyril and the mask face off again, but this time Cyril managed to kick off the mask and find out he's a Jim. He's his best friend, basically his personal Jesus, and Cyril goes to complete mental breakdown because, yeah, this man taught me how to be counter-terrorist, how to be spy, how to be soldier. Now he's against me. Basically, what I want audience feel. Imagine what Cyril, main character, is going through. Imagine that you joined army because of Captain America, and then you find out that Captain America is planning 9/11. Basically, everything you build your life onto, your career, your moral compass, your skills, your worldview, suddenly fell down like house of cards. And now Cyril, is not like some farmer who's chosen to go to adventure. No, Cyril killed people. He's officer. He has people under him. He is career soldier. He knows how to deal shit. And first two acts, or rather Act 1, Act 2A, first half of the book is spent a lot of showing how tough and how skillful, not perfect, I don't like the type of character, it's not Kirito, but how Cyril isn't just some sort of kid he's not like not bitching on Harry Potter, I love Harry Potter, but he's not your traditional fantasy boy who dreams of adventure. No, he killed people, he has body count. Like I said, he's Solid Snake / Jack Bauer with rapier and musket carbine. Until he finds out that man who told him everything is on the other side, and it's not just in terms of skill. In physical threat, there's obviously physical danger in that everything I know was taught to me to this guy. So even if I know how to be 10 steps ahead of enemy, but he's the guy who taught me that, and when I am 10 steps ahead of him, he's gonna be 20 steps ahead of me. So, what the hell? So obviously he's messed up, he doesn't know what to do. And from that, okay, swallow your ego, ask for help, join forces with people you don't necessarily like. There's a thing in the book that Cyril has genuine hatred towards mages. There was a war in this universe in past, before he joined this order, before he even met Jim. First time he went to war as a young kid. It's very anime. Nowadays it's called very anime trope that characters go to war or goes to adventure when they're preteen. In real life, it's a fantasy world, but around 15th to 16th century Europe, when you were 12 years old, you were about high time to join army / have kids. Basically, as soon as woman can bleed, she can have children. As soon as man can carry a weapon, he goes to war. Man and woman, mind you, not boy and girl. Yeah, that Europe of that time was really fucked up. I mean, I love Renaissance era, but it wasn't all art and music and philosophy. It was also a lot of nasty shit. So he joined army when he was 12. He was saboteur. Basically, this war / this country, Besson Empire's equivalent of Vietnam War, was when they were fighting in colony. In real life, and I had podcast on Joko podcast with Vietnam veterans. They're like, yeah, that war was horrible, that war was terrible, that should have never happened, but it was way worse because civilians were given too much power. An equivalent of this, I don't like one-to-one analogy, but equivalent of this was in this war in colony where young Cyril was first time in army, volunteer as saboteur, basically joining special forces, but it's kind of a trade-off. They let you join special forces right away, but you not expect to return. He did with a couple of his friends. And basically in that war, mages were given free hand to do everything, so there were a moment, obviously best case scenario, everything went without a hinge, but there were moments in Cyril's life and Cyril's early military career when they were planning operation for months, destroying bridges, kidnapping enemy officers, gathering information, and then some just decided that no, we're gonna use golems and go opposite directions, or we're gonna summon dragon and go opposite directions. So they were fuck it, months of our lives, all the friends who died for nothing. And worse for that, which also happened, that they were sneaking through jungle and some fucking mages decided to throw firestorm and burn them all alive. So Cyril, understandable, he's kind of it's not a fair, but it's understandable that Cyril is kind of a massive racist hatred towards anyone who uses magic. Of course, there's a woman named Nadia. She's not love interest. In fact, Cyril has love interest, who's also assassin and probably better than him, at least in some ways, who became friends with Nadia. So Cyril's girlfriend, Emily, she's kind of like bummer between those two. She knows where Cyril came from, she loves him, she understands him, but she also knows that Cyril can stop thinking when magic is involved, so she's like, okay, calm down, she wasn't there, she wasn't among people who kill your friend, there were different assholes. And Nadia is I read while I was wrapping out first version Amber Regrets, I learned about principle of hero versus protagonist, where protagonist is the one we follow, but hero is the one who has all the moral values, and they don't have to be one person. So I decided kind of a buddy story slash this hero versus protagonist, where first half of the book shows us how Cyril A, he's a great leader and great fighter and great agent and great spy, but his one weakness is his pride and his pettiness, especially when it comes to magic. And after midpoint climax, when he realizes he cannot do this alone, he swallows his pride and he goes, Nadia, I treated you like a shit and I still hate you, but it isn't about me, I need your help. And Nadia's like, and Cyril is expecting, like she makes him like kiss my feet or kiss my floor, and he's like, in his mind, I'm gonna fucking do it. If she tells me to lick her asshole, I'm gonna do it, but I need her help. And Nadia's like, that's literally what I wanted. I never wanted to steal your shine, I never wanted to steal your glory, I just wanted to help. And it's like, I want you to be leader. You're a fighter, you're a soldier, I don't know how to do it, I just want to help you. So the already comes out that, okay, shake hand, hug, maybe later they hug, and that will be maybe halfway through Act 2B / third quarter, when they finally learn how to work together and go as a team and hopefully avoid disaster. And I didn't even want to talk about this. Is awesome. I'm gonna be vlogging more often. Basically, I was writing one of the chapters, and it was chapter of finale of the first act. Like I said, since I'm writing epic fantasies, epic doesn't necessarily mean it's so great or that is about traveling. Epic fantasy is more in terms of size. Usually 100,000 to 160,000 words. I'm overwriter. Like I said, that Amber Regrets was 300,000 words. So I'm trying to aim for the lowest mark, and counting on the fact it's gonna be at least double. My grandmother just turned off her TV without headphones, so I better wrap this out because it's gonna be loud. And I'm writing each of those 4 acts in this book. That's difference between movie and book, especially book this large. That I want it to be fun and I want it to be entertainment all the way through. So what I do, I treat each of the acts, each of the 4 quarters of the book as its own book, which itself has. So basically you have beginning, middle of the end, and each of those has its own beginning, middle of the end. If you do it in the movie, it will be way too cut. But I realized that in a book, how do you make one long book entertaining all the way through? You don't. Instead, you make 4 books that are shorter and entertaining all the way through. And like I said, each of the 4 acts, they're gonna have different titles, like subtitles. Each of the acts are gonna be titled, and each of the acts is gonna have beginning, middle of the end. And end of those titles were kind of like end of the first act. I wanted to be kind of like, if you ever play Metal Gear Solid 3 when Cobra shows up, and it's one of the best scenes of anything ever. I didn't want it to be complete surprise because I didn't want to be Cyril and his associates and his boss. There's a while, but there's kind of an indication when he first time swallows his prize. This time it's more or less ordered by his boss. I didn't want to be out of nowhere, so I decided it's gonna be better to show up in the first act that Cyril is capable to swallow his pride right away, just not fully. He's not fully accepting Nadia. He's just, okay, like when I told him, dude, she can help us. Okay, fine, bitch, fine. Later he actually submits and lets her in, but this time he just for sure while do some investigations. And Cyril, there are a few early chapters which is pure action and he kills mages, which he loves, obviously. And there's this moment which I I didn't know how to make Cyril and his friends to figure out that something is up, because I didn't want to be complete surprise. I wanted them to figure out something's coming, like it's a trap moment, but I wanted to say not it's a trap, but rather, is this a trap? So what happened, there's if you ever heard of story Cities of Rocher or Monsen, basically it's kind of inspired by real life. What happens in this, there's a city within Besson Empire which is started as a separate nation, but they joined, and it's kind of like Monaco or even Northern Ireland, maybe Quebec in Canada. So they part of the empire. They've been part of empire for a long, and some people say they should be free, but on the other side there's, okay, you didn't want to be free when our soldiers were dying for you and protecting you in every single war, and when pirates shows up twice a year to rape your woman and our soldiers die in battle, you didn't want to be free back then. So it's like kind of like this fucked up situation. Pearson and Cyril himself, he would wish them at least autonomy, but what's worse, violent cult took over, small radical minority, and I make sure to, in first act, to make it really clear that this violent rebellion was provoked by small radical minority, and most people just wants it to be over. And I described that second the soldier shows up, like 70% of people drop their weapons and they just want it to be over. Even Cyril himself, way he's looking at it. I wanted to be an empathetic character, but I want Cyril to be rational killer, but also very empathetic person. So what he does, it's not described like this, but basically Cyril sees himself as Cyril sees himself as a surgeon, in the sense that I don't want to fight these people. I don't want to fight any of them, but I cannot take them alive. If I tell them to give up, they're gonna start shooting at me. If I go there with my people and we go fight and we fight fair and square, we're gonna have to kill all of them. What I'm gonna do instead, I'm gonna go kill leader, I'm gonna do it brutal, I'm gonna do it violent, I'm gonna cut his fucking head off, and everyone else gives up. Or he makes sure he kills someone, but sometimes he kills them quietly, sometimes he kills them in the way that it looks way worse than it really is. He basically commits fatality, not because he enjoys violence, but because he wants to scare people into giving up. And again, Cyril is not doing that to scare people. And by the way, do the V-block, because I had it in the back of my mind, but I never put it in words. This is not written, but I just wanted to do it like this. So Cyril is very rational in terms that he's doing horrific shit, but he's doing it because he wants people to give up, so there's not violence, because Empire is about to take over city. This revolution is gonna be put down tonight, today, before lunch, and Cyril just wants to make sure as little innocent people dies as possible. So that's pretty much majority of first act, at least first half of first act, that he kills all the mages, his colleagues destroy all the gunpowder stashes, destroyed weapon, arrest/kill all the leaders, and since, okay, we cut out the head, we killed all the radicals, we killed all the leaders, now it's gonna be peaceful. But Cyril starts thinking that they put all the gunpowder stashes on one place. They guarded it well, but they put it in one place. So, great tactician, whoever is leading them, which is of course Jim, and he's setting it up as a trap. He wants to make it seem as if they're winning, because he wants to draw king and draw field marshal or draw all the generals inside, and then fuck them up. So basically, Jim from Shadow James is doing almost like reverse Trojan horse, when Jim, who not necessarily leader of the rebellion, but Jim come in as a mercenary with his group Arisen, which are on enhanced super soldiers. Reference to Cobra unit / Foxhound. I love Metal Solid. What can I tell you? So Jim convinces rebellion leaders to go with this plan, which is intentionally lose the fight, because Jim knows, hey man, You had your run, you had your romantic screaming. There's no way you're gonna beat government. So government comes in. They're gonna make it convincing. They're gonna fight, but they're gonna make sure that fight isn't that long. Most of the rebellion doesn't know that they've been sacrificed. And when they're inside, now they're actually trapped. That's what villain Jim, or antagonist, villain question mark Jim is planning. And Cyril, who was trained by Jim, partially at least, he knows that, okay, they had insane, great tactical way of defending the walls, but they didn't have any support. So he's like, whoever leads the rebellion, whoever is giving them advices, and it's pretty much they have suspicion. Remember, Cyril is not in army anymore. He's in secret service now. They had suspicion there's outside force, outside agent or mercenary who's giving them advices. But it's like, who is giving them advices? Wall was only great tactician would make this great defense on the walls. But only the dumbest tactician in the world wouldn't give them any support. And Jim Wage is introduction to Cyril as a fighter. When he kills off mages during Raid, only greatest tacticians would put mages on those places. But only dumbest tactician wouldn't give them any bodyguards. And Cyril start noticing do they have best leader or the dumbest leader, or their leader has split personality? So Cyril is like, this I just can't get over it. This doesn't make any fucking sense to me. Meantime, Nadia is doing her own investigation. He has suspicion that whoever in the city, someone from Rebellion, has great powerful magic, which is banned magic and illegal magic, basically equivalent of the nuke. Or then I think I'm gonna change it, because Cyril, if he's that smart, he wouldn't probably ignore it. But Nadia possibly says that she has just a suspicion, or rather, best thing I think is, obviously, the reveal in third quarter in 2B is that our path to finale, that Jim as his backup plan has his powerful course, which is basically like a nuke. Like, if I can kill all the people I need to kill, I'm just gonna nuke this fucking place and everyone in it. And that would be Jim's final descent into villainy. When he just drawn to it, he's still good guiding down, but he's like, I gotta fucking do it for my people, for my wife. It's my people I love versus those civilians. Fuck it. Cyril obviously wants to prevent it. So what I think I'm gonna do is that Nadia also underestimates. She knows there's some anomalies and things that doesn't make sense. Like, kind of like in some spy movies, can think of equivalent. They think there's this house as lot of energy expenditure. So they think there's drug dealer, and in reality there are terrorists building bombs. So it's something like that. I'm gonna change it into it. Nadia thinks there are some maybe runaway mage or some illegal necromancer or something like that. Some small, even by her own standards. So I originally wanted to be, and guys, you're seeing me fixing it, because originally I wanted to Nadia be right away. No, there's like powerful thing. There's like nuke. There's a kaiju. We need to stop it. But then again, there will be one of my most hated cliches, but no one listens to her when they shoot. So instead, I'm gonna make it that even Nadia's like, that's probably nothing, but I'd rather check it out, if I may. So she joins, she helps out a bit, and government in turn lets her, okay, we're gonna give you a couple of bodyguards and you'll be able to go through city and find your anomaly. And in the meantime, Rufus, who is Cyril's boss / providing bodyguard for Nadia, he's like, seems to me like both of you are looking for the same thing. It's like, okay, Cyril, go talk to Nadia. Shut the fuck up, Cyril. Swallow Pride, go talk to Nadia. Find out what's happening. Even though Cyril still doesn't trust her, he had to admit that, a lot more things in this city doesn't make sense. This is still first act. And eventually they realize there's gonna be assassination. Like also Cyril noticed as they investigating together, they found out there are set up magic traps, very hidden traps, but there are completely useless spaces. Like instead of bridge, it's like bench in the park. Instead of some critical building, it's like abandoned warehouse. That's where all the bombs and all the traps are. So Cyril's boss, Rufus, orders, okay, let's send our guys and let's special forces to go to all these places and defuse those things. Meantime, they figure out that as King and Queen, who are young royal couple, as they're going through and showing mercy and being very nice leaders. Agnieszka, the queen, is probably one of my favorite characters I ever written, and they're a really good leader. They restoring morale. They're not like, oh, we defeat you. They're actually they because they showed up. They like, okay, this was civil war, but we're not gonna burn down buildings. We're not gonna rape people. We're not gonna burn this down. Maybe there's on a still chance for autonomy for the city, but we need to talk. I mean, it look like people, like, he wins the war, but King Lucius is peaceful leader. So Cyril, Nadia, Rufus, and all the rest decide that, yeah, there's gonna be assassination on the royal couple. So they charge in. Meantime, they send warning. And it's again my most hated cliche, but everyone should believe them, and no one does, which, as we found out, I almost did with Nadia. Everyone believes them right away when it comes from Secret Service that the king and queen are about to be assassinated. So rest of special forces escort them, they hide them, they save them. Field marshal and generals themselves come in to find out what's the threat. They were the real targets. Jim realized, because Jim, like Cyril, he was part of this order named Lutherans, which were like kind of like mix of Navy SEALs / SOE / Spetsnaz, but they were right under King, so they were half Royal Guard, half Special Forces and Black Ops. He knew better than anyone that there is no chance in fucking hell that he could assassinate King and Queen. In fact, he could actually probably drop the nuke on the city, but somehow King and Queen would survive because there's just so much protection on them, magic or real, or magic or non-magic. So it's like, okay, I cannot kill King and Queen. Instead, I'm gonna make everyone think I'm going after King and Queen. Instead, I'm gonna go second best thing. So he kidnaps Field Marshal, who's leader of the army, so that's problem. And he comes in with his arrest and he genocide all the generals and the high officers. So King and Queen, which he knows he can't get anyway, gets away. Instead, he cripples army. He kidnaps the field marshal, ensuring that army will go after him even deeper in the city. And he doesn't know yet that Cyril is part of Secret Service, but he's counting on that. My biggest threat isn't soldiers. My biggest threats are Secret Service and spies who will think like me and who will look for me, while soldiers will try to save Field Marshal, but spies will try to figure out what's my next step. So he knows that when I kidnap Field Marshal and when I kill all the generals, spies will go after me, which is when I take them off one by one. And meantime, I wrote this today, or outlined this today, I'm really proud of it. All those useless targets, they were trapped, but they were trapped for spies and special forces that were working on defusing them. So earlier chapter before, or 2 chapters before, there's spy, let's say, guy to defuse bomb or mage to defuse magic bomb, and couple of special soldiers walk up to bench and they're like, wait, there's a bridge over there. They should put bomb in the bridge, under the bridge, but they put in the park bench. This makes no fucking sense. Why are they refusing that bomb? Just suicide bomber rounds out and blows himself up. While they're defusing bomb in empty warehouse, rebels more informed rebels come in with Molotov cocktails and flame bottles and throw them. While the special group of snipers or whatever, while there's, let's say, detective, while there's government detective trying to figure out why would someone try to hide there when there's no ways they could ever assassinate. Basically, there's like sniper hiding in the sewer. And while head detective is trying to figure out why would be sniper hiding in sewer, someone comes up to him and shoots him to the back of the head. So they're trying to figure out why traps makes no sense. So here's a trap. This is trap that makes no fucking sense. This is one of the good guys who are trying to figure out what the hell is going on and why this trap is here when this makes no sense. And what Jim wanted is kill here. And seems like my dad came here. I'm gonna need my help. And besides, it was 46 minutes. I was hoping to talk at least for 5, so I'm proud of myself. Make no sense, but I learned a lot. Hopefully I entertained you, and I'm gonna do it more often, possibly even every day. Thank you for listening and watching. See you next time. Oh, and my name is Matjo, and this was Daily Writing Vlog. Thank you guys. See ya.